Hey everybody, Alex Kazora, SteelersDepot.com, back with a Pittsburgh Steelers preview and prediction for Sunday's game, the Week 18 regular season finale between the Pittsburgh Steelers and Cleveland Browns. Let's talk about what to watch for in this game. Of course, this game means a lot for the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are 8-8. They must win this game to have a chance to make the playoffs, and they will need the Miami Dolphins and New England Patriots to lose. All three of those games will take place 1 p.m. Eastern Time, so we'll know by 4 o'clock, 4:15 on Sunday if Pittsburgh has a future or not. Browns trying to play spoiler. They come into this game at 7-9. Of course, new quarterbacks on both sides. Kenny Pickett for the Steelers. Deshaun Watson for the Browns. Those two guys did not play in Week 3. Watson, of course, suspended. So we'll start with Cleveland's offense. And while Watson is now their quarterback, their identity has not changed dramatically in some ways. You know, with Watson being rusty, missing 2 years, they've kind of regressed, and their points per game has been down since Watson came back compared to what this team was doing with Jacoby Brissett. Now, they did play their best half of football against the Commanders on Sunday. Watson throwing 3 second-half touchdowns. And so, you know, he's a guy that can scramble, and there's a design run game element to their offense that Pittsburgh didn't have to deal with when they faced Brissett. And while it's not a core of what Cleveland does in their run game, they use it like the Ravens have used Tyler Huntley in specialty situations, goal line, red zone, third down. They had a quarterback sweep on third down against Washington last week for a Watson touchdown around the 12-yard line or so. And so that's when they'll use him, but he's scrambling. He's extending the play. Quarterback contained for Pittsburgh has not been good enough the last couple of weeks, even against the Ravens and Huntley. I thought there were too many rush opportunities or escape opportunities for Huntley, so that's going to be really critical for the Steelers' pass rush in this game. But obviously, the Browns, that run game, it's not been as strong as past years, but it's still pretty strong. Nick Chubb, for my money, the best runner, pure runner in football. The tackles are still good. The guards are good, although they are missing right tackle Jack Conklin. And so you really hope that T.J. Watt, Alex Highsmith can take over this game. Watt facing James Hudson, their new right tackle, who should be better than last year, but he's a guy that Watt had, I think, 4 sacks off in that Week 17 game last season. And then Alex Highsmith has always owned Jedrick Wills on the left side. So can you be gap sound? Can you stop Nick Chubb, minimize that run game? Maybe not stop, but minimize. And the Browns are leaning more on their gap scheme and pulling their guards as opposed to their zone scheme. And so it's going to be a similar battle as it was against the Ravens, another counter gap happy type of team. Can you get the backside crashing in to make those plays when guards pull, when tackles pull? Can the front side slow things up enough, and can linebackers be able to take on blocks, get off blocks? Those will all be really important. Quick other notes on the Browns pass game. Amari Cooper, still a very good receiver, had a big game against Pittsburgh in Week 3. They stole him from Dallas for a 5th-round pick. He's got a 1,000-yard season. He's been their top target. They move him around a bit. They'll use stacks and bunches to create free releases, even occasionally line him up in the backfield on third down and goal line. He ran an angle route against either the Saints or the Commanders to almost get him the football for a touchdown. So they're going to be creative with him. Donovan Peoples-Jones has stepped up. David Njoku's had success against Pittsburgh in the past, and also what the Browns do so much, whether that's Mayfield, and it'll be the case with Watson as it was with Brissett earlier this season, was empty sets. So they'll go heavy. They'll bring in their big people, 2 tight ends, keep Pittsburgh in their base defense, and then they'll spread the field and go empty. They've been going empty pretty heavily with Deshaun Watson. So how does Pittsburgh handle that? Because they don't travel their corners, that creates an issue when Amari Cooper is aligned as number 3 in the slot and empty. Now you have either a linebacker on him and man, or you're trying to play zone, getting picked apart 8 yards at a time. Pittsburgh's gotten better at having answers for that. Has not been torched the way they were a couple years ago, but it's still not something they've really handled well because they don't travel. And so dealing with empty probably on Pittsburgh's agenda this weekend. Defensively for the Browns, I think this game sets up really well for Pittsburgh. The Browns' front seven has been really poor throughout the year defending the run. The secondary's been good, and so Pittsburgh's game plan, I think, will be pretty similar to the way that it was against Carolina. Run the ball as much as humanly possible. Browns on the season allowing 4.8 yards per carry. Their rush defense metrics are really poor across the board. They're missing pieces. They've lost so many off-ball linebackers. No JOK, no talkie-talkie. They got really just some brand new guys that they're bringing in to finish out the season. Reggie Ragland, Jermaine Carter, Tony Fields, a young guy that hasn't played a ton of football. They're not necessarily bad players. I think Ragland's a decent run defender, but they've been soft in the middle. That interior defensive line has been poor all year long. Andrew Berry, their GM's been criticized for analytically not focusing and not addressing much of that interior defensive line, not prioritizing run defense. They're feeling that right now. So Pittsburgh should, on paper, be able to run the ball successfully in this game. Of course, it's critical and vital to their success. Again, they should be able to do it. Now, the Browns will stack the box, and their defense reminds me of the Bengals a couple years ago, where the safeties made all the tackles. You got Grant Delpit over 100 tackles, John Johnson at 90-something tackles. Reminds me of Jesse Bates and Von Bell before that Bengals defense got pretty good the way that it is right now. But they're going to run a lot of cover one. They're going to run cover two on third down. So, early downs, they're going to stack the box. Third and long, they're going to play cover two. If it's third and medium, they're going to play, some cover four, some cover three, things like that. But can you run the ball early? Because that secondary is pretty good, although Denzel Ward not going to play in this game, but you still have Martin Emerson having a good rookie year. Delpert's got 3 picks his last 2 games. Greg Newsome's been a good corner, a former first-round pick for them. So certainly, keeping the identity, keeping the formula of take care of the football, run the ball effectively, that has to be Pittsburgh's priority. Pretty obvious stuff. But again, I think it sets up well in Pittsburgh's favor to accomplish that in this game. So for my prediction, I'm going a little higher scoring, at least by the Steelers' modest standards. I got Pittsburgh winning this one 27-20. I know every game seemingly for the last month has been, 16-13 and those kinds of really low scoring bet the under type games. I'll say just for a weird one, no particularly great reason that Pittsburgh's able to put some points on the board, and the Browns can even get a couple of points as well with Watson back at quarterback. But again, because this matchup favors Pittsburgh so well in terms of being able to run the football, at least they should, and take care of the football, and that run defense for the Steelers is certainly tightened up. I don't expect the Browns to be held to 40 yards in this game, but, can you hold Nick Chubb to 70 yards and 3.9 yards per carry and no big plays? I think it can do that. I think Pittsburgh, in its current form that's pretty healthy, will be able to do that, and I think the outside backers of TJ Watt, of Alex Highsmith, should certainly have success. You would expect it against the backup right tackle and what Highsmith has done against their left tackle, Jedrick Wills. So I got Pittsburgh winning this one 27-20. Will they get the help they need? There's a good chance. I think in some respects, the hardest leg of this 3-prong approach Pittsburgh needs to the playoffs is Pittsburgh beating Cleveland. I think the Bills are going to be favorites, obviously, over the Patriots. Now, the Jets-Dolphins game is sort of anyone's guess. It's Joe Flacco versus Skylar Thompson, so, who the heck knows? Flip a coin, I suppose. But I think in this game, it'll still be a challenge for Pittsburgh, no question, but I think they got a shot to win this game and a real shot to make the playoffs. So, let me know your thoughts on this game. Let me know your score prediction, and will Pittsburgh be still playing football after this weekend? Will things fall into place perfectly? Again, Pittsburgh needs to win, and the Dolphins and the Patriots both need to not win. Most likely lose. They both could tie, and if Pittsburgh wins, then Pittsburgh still gets in. So that's why I'm a little careful with the language of not win is the path. Again, Miami, New England have to lose or tie. Pittsburgh has to win. If those 3 things happen, Pittsburgh will be the 7 seed, and they will play the 2 seed, whoever that may be. Most likely, I guess it'd be either the Bills or the Bengals, but with all the changes, I'm not even thinking about that stuff right now. So, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Really appreciate you guys listening to all these prediction and preview videos over the season. Appreciate the support, and we'll talk to you soon.